So let's take a closer look at some of the editing options that you have available in Canva. So what I did was I searched for a newsletter and just opened up a newsletter online from a template here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on templates on the left, and this is the template that I currently have, but you'll notice that there's all different kinds of newsletter templates on here. And as I'm scrolling through, I might decide that I kind of want to change my mind and I want to use this template instead. If I click on this template, I can just say apply both pages and it will just change my template. So this is a 2-page newsletter. You can add additional pages, either blank pages and reformat them, or you can just duplicate pages that are part of your template. So if I was to click duplicate page, it adds a 3rd page to my newsletter. And if I click on the show pages option here, I can see all the pages in my newsletter. I can actually even rearrange them by dragging and dropping if I want to change the order. And you can add pages here as well. If for some reason you don't want a page, you can either right click on it and you can say delete page or duplicate a page. Or you can also, let me just minimize this, you can also delete pages right here by clicking like the trash can and removing that page from your project. So now let's edit some of the items that are in the page. We're going to start with elements. When I go to the Elements tab, they're basically under Elements, you can add many different things. You can add shapes and lines. You can add clip art graphic, photographs. If you publish this online, you can add video or audio. You can add charts and tables and even frames to hold pictures in. So all of these can easily be added by just dragging and dropping them into the document. For instance, if I wanted this circle on the page as like maybe a design element, I can just drag it onto the page, and when I want to edit it, I can change the color of it. Maybe we'll make it green for FM, and you can also make it much smaller. So I might want it to highlight there, or I can delete it off my page if I decide I don't want it. Let's say I wanted to change this and get some new pictures of students here. One of the things that I would do is just type in the word students if that's what I'm interested in. And it will bring me back all different media that has students in it. So if what I'm looking for is an actual photograph. So I'm going to filter this by photos, and this will show me just photos of students. And if you want to switch a photo out, all you have to do is drag a photo on top of a different photo and it will replace it. So, or I could change this photo in here. So whichever photo you like, you can add directly to your newsletter. You can do that for any photo in your document. You can also, if I come back to this, I could say, for instance, I like these little frames for photos as well. So if I was to add a frame, I can now go back up to this picture and just drag that into the frame. And now the picture is in the shape of that particular frame. So maybe I want to delete this picture in this particular frame and move this one in. So the reason why I can easily drag and drop pictures in like this is because these are actually frames underneath them. So if I delete the picture, it actually will still show that the frame is still there. So that's what a frame does. In addition, you can also add, I can just add a picture to the page without a frame, and now that picture can just be, I didn't mean to add it in there, whoops. I can just resize it, and as long as I don't drag and drop it into the frame, it can just be a photograph that's part of your newsletter. And you can resize and add it anywhere that you want. Some of the other elements that you can add to your page, so there's hundreds and thousands of pictures and clip art that you can add into your page. However, you can also upload your own media. So if it's something that you've created or you've saved onto your computer, you can upload your own media. And I will upload one of our esports logos. And anything that gets uploaded will remain in your uploaded media, so you can reuse it over and over. So if I wanted this image, I can just click on it and add it to my page. because it's already uploaded. So once it's uploaded, it's going to stay right in my personal library there, so I can reuse it over and over again. In addition, for text, you can also, obviously you can click and edit text that's already here, but you can add new text to the page by either adding new headings, adding a subheading, or body text, or you can even add specialty text that has, is designed a little bit more interesting. So you can add any of these to your page by just clicking right on them, and it will add on here. And then I can edit this just like a text box. So I can type over it. I don't even know what I'm saying here, but I'm just going to leave it like that. You can also highlight this, and I can change the color. So if I don't want the outline of that to be pink, I want it to be green, I can go ahead and do that as well. And I can resize it and make it pretty much, I have all of the same text options that I had with a regular text box. And of course, I can even change the fonts here if I prefer. In addition, you're going to notice that there's a styles option over here on the left. This allows you to add color style to your design. So I can add a particular palette. So if I wanted this to be more like, let's say I want to use the cotton dandelions or the green palette, I can click that and it will change the colors of my newsletter to meet the palette. You can also create your own palettes by clicking, and you can change them yourself as well. The other thing you can do is you can add backgrounds to your pages. So let's say if I added this background to this page, it changes the background here. Let's add one that you can see a little better. So it actually will just change the whole background of that page. It doesn't change the whole design. It's only going to change the one page that you're currently working on. You're also going to notice that there's other items on your toolbar that get added depending on what you're doing. So for instance, I added a few of these things from more. If you click on more, you do have more options, and items that you use frequently will automatically be added to this left toolbar. So for instance, what can you add here? Well, you have a shortcut to add more photos here, or audio, video. You can also add charts. So if you wanted to add a chart to your document, you can go ahead and do that. When you add a chart to a document, you actually are able to manipulate the table that is actually the chart is created from. So I might say something like week 1 instead of item 1, and that's going to change that in my graph when I go ahead and edit it. And you can change the numbers here, and that will actually change your graph as well. So if you notice, that bar just changed because I changed the number. So if I change this from 8 to 80, when I hit enter, the line on the graph is going to change. So the other thing that you can do is you can actually connect a Google Sheet. So if you have a sheet that you want to graph, you can actually connect it, and it will create a graph based on the items within your particular Google Sheet. I can also change the type of chart that I want here. So if I want it to be, instead of a bar, I want it to be rows, I can do that. And obviously I can edit the colors of my graph as well. You can also copy and paste data from a spreadsheet. So if it's a table from a spreadsheet, if you paste it here, it will graph it instead of using the built-in data table that is part of this graph. And then you do have a few details. You can show the legend, or you can show data labels here, or you can show grid lines and ticks or not show them. So that is one option under more. There's other options as well. So for instance, this is a great tool to create QR codes. Let me actually delete this out of here. But if anyone who wants to create a QR code, I would recommend creating it in Canva because it has the tool built in. So if I went to Canva, I can just enter in any URL that I want to use. So let's say this particular video, I'm just going to right click and copy the URL. And then I'm going back into Canva, and I'm just going to paste the URL and say generate code. And it creates the QR code right in my document, and that QR code, when scanned, will go directly to this website. So this is the easiest tool for creating QR codes. Now you'll notice that because I just created a graph, a chart, and a QR code, those items are now populating my menu here. If I don't want them on my menu, I can just hover over them and I can click the X next to them. Or if you click on, if you hover and it doesn't show up, you can always click on it and just hit the X there as well. There's some other options in here as well that are kind of nice. Number one is you can connect like your Bitmoji account, so you can create Bitmojis in here or add your Bitmojis that you've already created. This one is called a build your own character, so it's an app that allows you to build characters. This one allows you to actually draw in a file. So it could be a blank file or any file, but you can choose the different types of pens that you want to use. Maybe I want to use a highlighter in yellow, and you can actually use that and draw in here. Or I could say, you know what, I'm actually going to create a drawing, and I want my marker to be a little thicker, and I'm going to use red, and now I can highlight or draw in this file as well. So lots of options in here. Some of the other ones that I think are interesting are to add a Google map to a document. You can also like add YouTube videos. You're going to notice a lot of, you can also add Google Drive. You can connect your Google Drive, and that allows you, if I do that, it will put Google Drive as an option over here. Let me go ahead and do that. And then when I click on Google Drive, it actually loads my Google Drive here and allows me to add files and pictures that I have stored directly in my drive. Some of the apps here may be blocked. For instance, if I was to choose the Instagram option, that would allow me to choose posts and pictures directly from my Instagram account to add to my file. That will not work in school because Instagram is being blocked by our filter. But a lot of these other apps do work, and so you can basically integrate items that you have from these apps into your documents. So it's definitely, you'll want to play with some of the options here to spend some time seeing what you can add and what you can't add. But I do want to just, before I close off here, I do want to just mention the Bitmoji because I know that's popular among educators. One other thing that you can do is if you just type in Bitmoji, there are a lot of options for Bitmojis. They have classrooms already built, and you can actually create your own character, or you can connect it with your Bitmoji account and add your Bitmoji into these pre-done Bitmoji classrooms. So you don't even really have to create the entire classroom anymore. You can start with one of these templates, and then you can modify it and make it your own. So I can add apps or icons and pictures and things like that as well. So it's definitely time to do some exploring and playing around in Canva and get started trying to work on creating your first document.